Why is it important to invest in public schools? So many reasons. Our workforce, our property values. Here in Douglas County, we want to continue to attract young families to come to Douglas County to be part of the best school system in the area. We all know that property values greatly rely on the quality of a school system. We want young families to move to Douglas County so that they can receive and be part of the #1 education system in the Denver metro area. As long as families want to move to our community, our property values will stay high and our community will thrive, because the future of our community depends on young families continuing to come and take advantage of all the amazing things that Douglas County has to offer, including our school system.
Welcome to the first episode of Season 2 of the DCSD Notebook Podcast, and more importantly, welcome to the beginning of the 2026-27 school year. I'm your host and DCSD Communication Director, Jason Hackett, and our special guest for this episode is Erin Kane, the superintendent of the top-scoring school district in the Denver metro area. Superintendent Kane helped us kick off and end the first season of this podcast. So first, welcome back, Superintendent Kane.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, it's like you're practically one of the hosts of this thing. So. This podcast series is all about doing deep dives on the why, who, how, and what makes the school district tick. And the reason we have Superintendent Kane here is to help give us information to fill our notebook about the Mill Levy Override on this November's ballot. So first, Superintendent Kane, can you give us a quick version of what's being proposed, and then we'll dig in a little bit more?
Sure. The 2026 Mill Levy Override will cover really important things like staff compensation, which will help get our teacher pay right into the market. We're still about 7% below the market. It will also include clearing the waitlists for career and technical education. We have so many incredibly awesome career and technical education opportunities in our district, including the trades, and yet a lot of them have wait lists because students still can't get in because they're so popular. We'd like to be able to resolve that so that we truly are able to offer those opportunities to every student. The Mill Levy Override will also cover other student opportunities, including restoring instrumental music in our elementary schools, as well as addressing the needs of all of our students, including those that have specialized needs. And finally, it would be used to ensure that we are able to support the safety and security plan that we have for the district.
For a lot of items on the ballot, the voter's going to ask, what's in it for me? But in the case of school funding measures, the question is really, what's in it for students? So can you talk some more about how students stand to benefit and why that's important?
Every single aspect of the 2026 Mill Levy Override is about students. Even if you just start with the increase in compensations, the more competitive that we are across the market in the Denver metro area, the more we will hold on to our teachers and staff. Holding on to teachers and staff is an incredible benefit to our students. The teachers we have in our classroom today are the reason we are the #1 scoring school district in the Denver metro area, and we certainly want them to remain with us in Douglas County, making sure that our students have incredible outcomes and very bright futures. The other items in the MLO are certainly all about our students, but the career and technical education one in particular I'd like to talk about for a moment. Addressing the wait lists on our career and technical education, especially the trades courses, not only is a benefit for our students, but it is a tremendous benefit for our workforce. As students are able to get into things like construction management, plumbing, HVAC, welding, automotive, cosmetology, various aspects of our career and technical education programming that really ensure that our students are ready for the career and for the workforce, whether or not they decide to go to college.
Can we dig in a little bit more on that then?
Sure.
Too? Because where we're recording this right now, we're in the Legacy campus, and just recently we had a ribbon cutting. Can you talk about both the ribbon cutting, I guess, and what that came from, going clear back to the 2024 bond and all the new opportunities that the students have in this building and across the district?
Absolutely. First of all, we're incredibly grateful to the taxpayers for supporting the bond in 2024 that allowed us to add facilities across our district for career and technical education, among a wide variety of other things. But looking at career and technical education in particular, we were able to add 4 pathways here at the Legacy campus, including construction and the trades. We were able to add 4 additional pathways here at the Legacy campus, including construction and the trades. We were able to add automotive to Highlands Ranch High School and cosmetology to Douglas County High School. The bond allowed us to add the facilities. Addressing the wait lists means that we have to use those facilities to offer additional sections to our students. That costs additional operational dollars, which is part of why we are asking for an MLO in 2026.
And so people understand those career and technical education classes that they can take at Legacy campus and even cosmetology and automotive, students, it doesn't matter what school they go to, they can take that, and we've got transportation. And can you talk a little bit about that side too?
We're so proud of the work we've done in Douglas County to ensure that every single student has amazing opportunities regardless of their home high school. Because of course we can't offer every pathway at every high school. So our 9 comprehensive high schools have aligned schedules. Those aligned schedules mean that a student can access a pathway at a different high school while attending their home high school, including here at Legacy. We provide transportation for that opportunity, and it's just a great chance for our kids to be able to access the same great opportunities regardless of where they live.
Talk a little bit about the importance then of having those kinds of options for students, because when we were going to high school, it was all about college. Everybody was like, we were being pushed toward college. And I feel like public education, maybe you can speak to this more than I can, obviously, but I feel like public education kind of got away from the trades and what used to be called vocational education and things that there's a lot of students that love to work with their hands and they're super gifted at that. And this district has been building on that, correct?
And actually, you might be a little bit younger than me, Jason, but when I was growing up and in high school, you were either college bound or you were in VOTEC. It was an either or proposition. If you were in VOTEC, you were bound directly for industry. If you took everything else, you were bound for college. Today in Douglas County School District, we offer students all options. So even if they're taking career and technical education courses in the trades, they can use those courses, those credits, and that industry certification to go directly into industry if they choose. They can also use those credits to apply to a college education. So today, it's not an either-or scenario. Every student that leaves our system has what they need to do what they want to do next, whether it's go directly into a career or if they want to go directly to college. They have all the options open to them. And that's the wonderful thing about what we're able to offer versus what I had growing up and perhaps you had growing up.
Absolutely. And getting those options at the high school level where they can kind of try it on, see if it fits.
Absolutely.
See if they like it. And sometimes they don't like it.
We know from research that if students find something they're really passionate about in high school, it improves their attendance rates, they graduate, and it improves their academics overall, even in their core classes. And certainly our students have been able to find their passions through things like performing arts or athletics. But career and technical education opportunities really brings that to the next level because students can start to find the thing that they're really passionate about perhaps doing after high school and or after college. And if kids can find that sense of purpose and be really purpose-driven, their sense of hope and optimism for the future goes way up. And what a great time to experiment with what you're passionate about while you're here in high school instead of when you start college and your parents are paying a lot of tuition.
Exactly. And so backing up to kind of what this is about, there are wait lists for our classes.
Yes.
Tell us about that, too.
Well, take cosmetology, for example. Even though we are opening up a new cosmetology program at Douglas County High School, for both Douglas County High School's cosmetology program and Highlands Ranch High School's cosmetology program, we could fill both of those programs twice over. And that is true for many of our programs throughout our district. We need to be able to offer more in order to meet the demand from our students, our families, and the workforce here in Douglas County.
Because that's a big key, too, right? They get done in our schools and can go some of them straight into working in the county.
Absolutely. In fact, that's what we want. We want our kids to graduate from our system and come back here to Douglas County. to be able to use their wonderful skills to contribute to the workforce right here in our county. In fact, one of our programs that I'm so proud of is our Future Educator program, where our students are learning how to be teachers going forward. They have apprenticeship opportunities across our district. And when they do become teachers, they get a year off of their time in college because of the credits that they receive here. Our hope is that they come right back here to Douglas County School District to teach. So we're trying to address the needs of the workforce in Douglas County, including our own workforce.
To piggyback on that, I did a story, I think a year ago, for the Legacy Campus annual report where we talked about the CNA program.
Yes, that's another one that we could fill many times over, and we just need to be able to afford to run more sections.
Right.
Yeah.
Big demand for healthcare.
Very much.
And I mean, everybody knows there's a shortage of that everywhere.
A shortage of CNAs and a big nursing shortage. So a lot of our hospitals really want us to encourage our CNA students to use that as a launching pad to go into nursing.
And it's partnerships as well. We're partnering
Absolutely.
with hospitals and with higher ed to help bridge those gaps.
Very much. We're so proud of our partnerships with higher education, which allow our students to receive transcripted college credit as well as industry certifications. As for our partnerships with industry, it's allowing us to be able to have our students experience apprenticeships and internships and really get that work-based learning before they graduate from high school.
We could go on about that, I'm sure. There's so many programs, so many great things going on there. But let's back up to the elementary level and some of the things that you've been talking about with elementary music and things like that with the MLO as well, that can be brought back. How did it disappear in the first place?
You know, when the economy crashed back in 2008, kind of that 2008 to 2010 time period, a lot of cuts were made everywhere, including in our school district. And one of the things that was cut at that time was instrumental music in our elementary schools. And I certainly hear about it from our band directors in our middle schools and our high schools because their music performance pipeline has been dwindling over the years. We want to be able to offer those great opportunities during the school day to our students in elementary school, as we did back in the early 2000s. And our students, our families, are very much demanding that.
Can you talk about from an educational standpoint too, the value of having instrumental music for elementary kids and what that means for them elsewhere in the school day? Like, do they become better at other things?
Sure. Just like we talked about earlier, when students have the opportunity to find their passion, they are much better at everything else that they do, and their enthusiasm for school greatly increases. And so many students have a passion for music, but without being exposed to instrumental music, that opportunity may pass them by. And we want to make sure that our students have great opportunities all across the board.
Can you talk some more about the need to add to and replace curriculum? That's the piece within the MLO as well, right?
It is. Absolutely. I can talk to that. We have recently, in recent years, the last 5 years or so, implemented scientifically based core curricula in all of our schools in literacy and numeracy. Traditionally, in the past, our schools have had to use their school budget in order to purchase curriculum, which has meant that there's been inconsistencies across schools. You know, some have more support in terms of curriculum for students with specialized needs or students who are struggling or our students who are gifted, multi-language learners, et cetera. And some schools are able to afford kind of all of that. So there's been kind of this inequity across our schools based on their ability to afford curriculum. If we have a district budget where we are consistently purchasing curriculum, which has to be refreshed every few years for our schools, that frees up the school budgets to really be able to do things that they need in their school. And it also promotes fairness across our school districts so that all of our students have access to great curricular resources. Our test scores in both numeracy and literacy have skyrocketed since the implementation of core programming, and we want to make sure that that progress continues to be made across all of our schools in Douglas County School District.
Absolutely. That getting an idea of numeracy as well as learning about how the brain works and how the brain learns how to translate language and reading. Yeah. That is a fascinating topic all on its own.
Absolutely.
And this district has just done such amazing work.
Yes. Yeah. I'm really proud of the great work going on in our schools in literacy and numeracy. You know, our kids have the most amazing future waiting for them with all of the technological innovations and everything that they will experience in the world that they walk into, which is a world that many of us can hardly imagine. And yet, if they don't have foundational literacy and numeracy skills, it won't matter. So we will never lose our focus on academics here in Douglas County School District.
And then circling back to the music part too, music helps with math. Am I not mistaken on that?
Absolutely. Music is definitely scientifically proven to help students with mathematics. They're all related.
And that's why I'm bad at math and music. So for generation after generation, Americans have invested in public schools, and the vast majority of us were educated in public schools thanks to the investments of people who came before us. So if we're looking at this as an investment, what's the return on investment, the ROI for public schools in Douglas County?
So much. So for starters, our current return on investment is incredibly high. We have one of the lowest tax rates in the Denver metro area for education, and yet we are the top performing school district. We struggle to pay competitively, and there's certainly programming that our students need that we aren't currently able to meet. But overall, we're a great return on investment for our taxpayers already. Why is it important to invest in public schools? So many reasons. Our workforce, our property values. Here in Douglas County, we want to continue to attract young families to come to Douglas County to be part of the best school system in the area. We all know that property values greatly rely on the quality of a school system. We want young families to move to Douglas County so that they can receive and be part of the #1 education system in the Denver metro area. As long as families want to move to our community, our property values will stay high and our community will thrive, because the future of our community depends on young families continuing to come and take advantage of all the amazing things that Douglas County has to offer, including our school system.
And so how do people know that their tax contributions go where we say they're going? What does the district do for financial transparency?
Of course, the district has a citizen-elected Board of Education. In addition, there is a Mill Bond Oversight Committee that is a group of citizen volunteers who oversee all the expenditures related to current and past mill levy overrides and bonds. And they provide a report every year to the Board of Education to share their opinion on whether that money was spent as promised by the school district. The last report was presented to the Board of Education on August 25th. And the finding was that the district is indeed spending consistent with that bond and mill plan. Any citizen is welcome to join the MBOC or to attend the meetings. In addition, we have an incredible business services group that handles all of our finances, and we consistently receive awards for being incredibly transparent and having books that are technically very solid.
So as you're talking about our budget team and them winning awards, it's not like some industries where it's kind of everybody gets in a circle and pats each other on the back and then we've all won an award. This is an award that's audited, that's a serious award, that there's criteria for this one.
It's
correct?
A very serious award. It's given by the Association of School Business Officials, which is a national association. And the award is for having books that are accurate as well as transparency to the public. We have incredible transparency to the public. You can look up any transaction on our website, any vendor, any money that's been spent by the school district can easily be found and accessed by the public. We very much believe in financial transparency here in Douglas County School District. And we have proven to our taxpayers time and time again that we spent their money exactly the way that we said we would. I'll use the 2023 MLO as an example. The 2023 MLO was to help us be more competitive with compensation. We were significantly below the market at that time. And we put together a plan that included an average of 9%, 7 to 9% increase, 9% for teachers, 7% for staff across the board. And those changes were implemented immediately. The election passed in November. By January, staff and teachers especially had their paychecks changed in order to reflect that increase in pay. It was made retroactive to the beginning of the year. And moving forward, that's how it is. We did it immediately. We did it accurately, exactly what we said we would do. And that will continue to be our practice.
And for the folks that are seeing, okay, you got a bump in pay in 2023, here it is 2026, you're looking for another bump in pay. Why are we doing it that way?
I even spoke about it in 2023. We were so far below the market that even what we were able to offer as part of the 2023 MLO was not enough to get us competitive, but it took us from way below the market to about 7% below the market where we sit today. A 2026 MLO will bring our teacher pay right with the market. We'll be just a little bit over the lowest in the market. So that'll put us in the pack and make us a little bit more competitive than right now where we're still below.
So it's fair to say that with a staff that was paid below market, we still achieved number one status in the Denver metro area.
Absolutely. Our taxpayers have been so gracious to invest in our school district, and what they have seen is our scores continue to increase year over year. Our graduation rate at 93.6 is the highest it's ever been. It's one of the highest in the state of Colorado. And our teacher and staff turnover has significantly decreased since our taxpayers made those investments. So the taxpayers have seen us keep our promises, and they have seen a significant return on investment. I think there's often this impression that we just keep throwing more money at public education and outcomes do not change. Here in Douglas County School District, our taxpayers invested and our outcomes improved.
And to speak to that staff satisfaction piece, we have a low turnover rate too.
Yeah.
That says a lot about the district being a destination then. Is that correct?
It does. And it says a lot about the climate and culture in our school district. When I started as superintendent 4 years ago, our turnover rate was somewhere around 26%. Today, it's 13%. And that says a lot about the climate and culture in our district. Certainly, the increase from the 2023 MLO made a big difference, but we are still below the market, and still our teachers and staff are staying. In fact, in a survey last year that I did as part of my State of the District tour in April of last year, thousands of teachers were surveyed, and 98% of them said our district is on the right track. That's tremendous support from an amazing staff who's getting great work done every single day for all of our kids.
And if people want to learn more about the climate and culture, they can go back just a little bit in this podcast feed and hear the last time that we spoke. It was about climate and culture. So.
Absolutely. And come be part of the greatest school district ever.
There you go. Exactly. As you were working on this MLO and asking the board to put it on the ballot, what was the process of finding out, kind of taking the temperature of Douglas County and polling and finding out, is there an interest in continuing this upward momentum?
Sure. Well, I would say for starters, when considering what the needs of the district were, certainly, my team and I are aware of the needs of our district, but we also reached out to all of our schools, to our district committees, and to other groups to talk about what is your perception of the needs of our school district. And based on that, we were able to formulate a plan for a potential 2026 MLO. In order to take the temperature, as you stated, we polled the public both in March and July in order to see what kind of support was out there for a potential 2026 MLO. In both polls, both ballot questions polled 55% positive in March as well as recently in July.
So there's an understanding out there that the school district is doing some good stuff out there, and we're seeing it reflected in continuing to propel that momentum forward.
Absolutely. The things that really resonated with our community, one of them was return on investment and appreciation for they haven't felt like their money's being lit on fire, right? They have really seen a return on investment. Nobody wants to get on the Titanic. Everybody wants to invest in public schools that they feel are truly serving students and could really give their community an advantage over other communities for people to move, to hold property values strong, and to continue to feed a workforce that is just thriving here in Douglas County.
So you mentioned supporting the school district's safety and security plan as part of this Mill Levy Override. What are some of the details about that as well?
Absolutely. We have wonderful partnerships with our law enforcement partners across Douglas County. We're so blessed to be able to have school resource officers in all of our secondary schools, our high schools, and our middle schools. And we have school resource officers that visit our elementary schools multiple times a day, in addition to campus security specialists in all of our schools. The costs of safety and security, however, continue to escalate. As you would expect with inflation, the cost of school resource officers continues to escalate. We want to make sure that we can cover all of those safety aspects for our district moving forward. Our funding has not kept pace with inflation and the cost of living here in Douglas County. And so we want to make sure that we're able to support the amazing school resource officer program that we have, as well as our staffing for campus security specialists, et cetera, throughout our schools. It's so important to us. It's so important to our community.
And speaking of costs, then, we've talked about all the different kinds of things that are involved in this. What will it cost the individual taxpayer as they're looking at their tax bill?
That's a really important question. It will cost approximately $236 a year for a $700,000 home in Douglas County, or about $33.70 per $100,000 in home value per year. So that would be the impact of the tax initiative should it pass.
So really easy. That's even math that I can figure out, right? Take the however much your house is worth and multiply that times $33 per 100,000.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you own $1 million home, it's $337 a year. For
Right.
a $700,000 home, it's $236 a year.
There you go. So,
Yeah.
okay. When it comes to the school district's funding, how does that work? We get funds from the state. Do we get some from the county? We get some from direct ballot measures. How does that all, what's the mix there?
Sure. The state of Colorado determines our per student funding every year based on the statewide funding formula. That total amount is first filled in with local property taxes, so what we raise in local property taxes, and then the state fills in the rest. What that means is when all of our property assessments went up and we paid more to the school district in local property taxes, the state of Colorado simply contributed less. So our funding was basically held the same, even though property taxes greatly increased. And currently, local funding makes up about 47% of our total funding, and state funding makes up about 53% of our total funding. So we still have it split more or less with the state of Colorado. But again, the more we collect locally, the less we collect from the state. You also asked about the county. We're a completely separate entity from Douglas County or from any of our other municipalities. So the decisions made by Douglas County have no impact on Douglas County School District. They are a completely separate entity from us. Unlike our local municipalities, the library district, the fire districts, Douglas County government, our local town and city governments, we do not receive more funding overall when those assessed values go up because we receive less from the state of Colorado. For many of our municipal partners, they collect a tax rate. So as assessed valuations go up, the amount of money that they're able to collect with that same tax rate continues to increase. That is not the case with the school district. You asked about local ballot initiatives. Local ballot initiatives are the way that Colorado honors local control. So if local citizens want their school district to receive extra money in order to pay teachers better than other school districts, in order to offer programming that's unique to the local community, in order to support facilities, the building of schools, the maintenance of schools, et cetera, local taxpayers can decide to do that through ballot initiatives. And so we've certainly done several of those here in Douglas County. We still haven't had as many local ballot initiatives as our neighbors have, so we're still less in total funding than most of our neighbors because we haven't had as many local ballot initiatives over the years. But again, we're so grateful for the support of the voters in Douglas County to make sure that the needs of our students right here in Douglas County are being met.
One of the common criticisms of government, of school districts in particular, is the size of central administration and how much that is. And some people will say, you need to cut that back before you ask us for more money. How does the school district compare to other school districts?
I would put up the size of our central administration next to any school district in the area or in the state of Colorado. We run extremely lean. As an example of that, when you take the total count of employees in Douglas County School District, only 3% of our employees are administrators, assistant principals, district leaders, myself, my team, make up a total of 3% of our employee count. The state average for administrators for a school district is 5%. So we are extremely low in count of administrators. We're extremely lean in central administration. I'll give you another example. Our human resources department has 23 human resources professionals to cover the needs of 7,600 employees. That's something like one HR professional for 350 employees. The industry standard is 1 to 50. So we are incredibly lean in our central administration, and we will continue to be. I think it's really important that we direct as much of our money as we possibly can to our schools and into our classrooms.
For people that say the district just needs to find places to cut the budget overall, how has the district approached things from that perspective? And how are we looking? Is there fat to trim?
We have made significant steps in the last few years to make sure that we are living within our means, which is a constant discussion when it comes to school districts. In order to cut long-term spending, we've taken necessary steps like consolidating schools in areas where we have declining enrollment so that we can have thriving schools to offer every student, and so that we have less overhead moving forward. And again, we're more focused on classrooms than we are on overhead. We're taking steps to consolidate central administration under one roof so that we are not maintaining a number of old buildings that are very expensive to maintain, not to mention paying mileage between buildings, et cetera. Consolidating under one roof for central administration will save us at least $3 to $4 million a year moving forward. So we're constantly taking steps to ensure that we're living within our means. The last example I would give is we're a very complicated district. We're 850 square miles. We have pockets of new construction and tremendous student growth. And we have pockets of declining enrollment where families moved in the early 2000s and still live in their homes, even though their students have gone through our school system. So overall, our enrollment has been slightly decreasing. And as our enrollment overall has slightly decreased, we're careful to ensure that our staff count is decreasing accordingly, because we do want to make sure that we're living within our means and responding to the changes in the environment.
And that's a matter of retooling on a year-by-year basis,
Absolutely.
Correct?
Every year we look at making sure that we've right-sized all of our schools, all of our departments, based on the enrollment in our district and our funding from the state.
And that's something that has been done historically every year, yes, regardless of this being an MLO
Absolutely.
year.
Every year, regardless of the MLO. An MLO should be for things that the school district needs and the community demands and wants from its school district, not for just supporting general operations.
As you said, with the way taxes are handled from the state perspective and then locally, an MLO is really the opportunity for the local school district population, the people who live in that district, to be able to affect change for their own schools.
Absolutely, based on the needs in the local community and based on what they want for their students.
So in Douglas County School District, we have teachers that make a certain amount, a salary that's below what is kind of the average for the Denver metro area, and especially Douglas County is quite expensive to live in. So
Absolutely.
We have a lot of teachers that can't afford to live here. Is that correct?
Yeah, our starting teacher pay is in the low 50,000s, which means that our starting teachers actually qualify for reduced income housing here in Douglas County. And we want our teachers to be part of our community and to be able to live in our community. So just for the cost of living and keeping up with inflation, it's critical that we continue to address compensation for our teachers and staff so that they can live here in our community.
And at an early August board meeting, we had some principals come and address the board during public comment, and they talked about some of the struggles that their teachers are facing.
Absolutely. They talked about how a lot of our teachers are holding second jobs in order to be able to pay rent specifically to live here.
So we've got a handful of questions left, and I'm wondering if you're up for a lightning round of some common questions that we hear.
Of course.
All right. So let's go. First question. What about the marijuana tax revenue for schools? What happened with that?
I get asked about that all the time. The majority of the marijuana tax revenue went to a fund called Building Excellent Schools Today, which is a fund from the state of Colorado that provides grants to school districts, primarily school districts in really rural areas, so that they can build facilities that their tax base could not otherwise support.
What about our charter schools? How are they affected by this?
Our Douglas County School District authorized charter schools absolutely benefit from any mill levy override passed here in Douglas County. They're part of our public school system. We're so proud of all the choice that we are able to offer in Douglas County school districts. About 24% of our students attend our district authorized charter schools right here in Douglas County, and therefore those charter schools receive about 24% of the revenue from mill levy overrides. And the charter schools need the money also. They're using it for the same purposes the district is, helping their teachers and staff be more competitive, etc.
Any final points you want to make about the MLO and how it would help our students and our schools and our teachers?
The 2026 MLO will make a tremendous difference, not only for our property values, but especially for our students. Having our staff more competitively compensated means that we keep them and they stay in our classrooms with our kids. Providing opportunities to our students gives our students an advantage and a leg up and ensures that people want to move to Douglas County, not just today, but for years to come. It is always our goal to ensure that the students that graduate from Douglas County School District have everything that they could possibly need to have the brightest future possible, whatever that future may hold for them.
Superintendent Kane, thank you so much for spending the time to help us understand the mill levy override and really just the entire operation of the school district. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me today. And again, I want to express my sincere gratitude to our community for all the support they have shown for Douglas County schools and for our amazing students.
Thanks for listening to DCSD Notebook from Douglas County School District, the third largest public school district in Colorado. To find out more, visit dcsdk12.org. And make sure to hit the follow button in your favorite podcast app so you can get every new episode, as well as Parent University once a month, where we hear from experts within the district and from the larger community talking about timely, relevant issues that parents face in our complex world. We're here to help you, so if you have a question and can't find the answer on our website, email communications@dcsdk12.org and we'll help point you in the right direction.